Live from the Washington, D.C. area, it's the Inside Scoop. All the news that our viewers want to know. Now, here's the host.
Hi folks, Cesar here, back in Studio C. It's a hot Monday evening, May 18th, 2026. We have a very special show for you this evening. First of all, we're going to start off celebrating what is a uniquely American form of celebration. We the people, in order to form this perfect union, more perfect union. We celebrate our diversity. And we're constantly reminded of what strength we have as a country. At times, it can be a bit of tension, but I believe it's what makes us strong and, quite frankly, uniquely American, is celebrating all our diversity. Being a council member in the town of Herndon, we will read a proclamation on this. I'm talking about the American Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month celebration. It's celebrated by millions of people across the world, but more particularly in the Americas. This evening I have a very special guest, and I will try to say his name from memory. Temujin Choegil Suren. And I hope I got that pretty close. He'll tell us in a second. A little bit about him. He answered the call to come on our show at the last possible minute. So he is passionate enough to talk about his cause, his honorable cause, his just cause, to represent his community. He is also the chief of staff to Delegate Rosia Herson in the HD House District 19, and he is also, more importantly, the chair of the Young Democrats Asian Pacific Islander Caucus. He earned his BA in political science from Virginia Tech and has worked in various political campaigns helping Democrats across Virginia. As I said, he's served in several capacities. Tonight, he is a special guest. Temujin, thank you so much for making time for us. Really appreciate you coming here.
Yeah, thank you. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, no, I know for me, this is, my niece and nephew are of Korean descent. Mm-hmm. And you cannot mistake them for being part of a wonderful community. What does it mean? Talk to me about heritage celebration for the AAPI community.
You know, what does it mean? I've thought about this question. I really don't know how to put it into words. It's just who I am, and just being comfortable, being proud of our heritage, our history, our family, our name. And I'll give an A- for the pronunciation.
Oh,
It's Choegil Suren, but everything else was correct.
Okay.
But you know, to answer your question, it's just really celebrating who we are, our history here in the United States. No matter how long you've been here, whether you've been here since the 1800s or as of 30, 20 years ago, we're an ever-growing community everywhere throughout the United States, and just having the chance to celebrate this month, our heritage, it really means a lot. Just to, you know, it is American to celebrate our diversity, you know. I'm thinking about, I believe it was Ronald Reagan's farewell address, where he was saying, you know, you can go to France, but you can't become a Frenchman. You can go to Japan, you can't become Japanese, but you come to the United States of America, you can become American. And that really, I think about that and how far we've come as a country, as our communities, and it's just a time to be who we are.
Amen, brother. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I didn't agree with a lot of Reagan said, but that is, quite frankly, profound and, quite frankly, beautiful. Mm-hmm. And it speaks to what is uniquely American. How do people, whether they're, and by the way, you're first generation American,
yes.
Right?
Yep, correct.
So what's sort of like what you've observed, immigrants versus first gen people in the AAPI caucus or community? What are their thoughts like on this month celebrating?
I mean, I'll go at it overall, from my experience at least. I kind of found myself in the middle. Am I Mongolian? Am I American? It's not one or the other, you're both. And just really finding that sweet spot and balancing the two identities. And just being a first generation American, having immigrant parents, it has its own tough battles of trying to, you know, something as simple but something pretty universal among immigrant communities and first-generation Americans of, you know, translating a letter from the IRS or filling out forms for school or like the FAFSA and whatnot. And it's a pretty unique experience, but it really, I don't know how to put it into words. It's just who we are, and I think, you know, within our community this month is just really an opportunity to also highlight some issues that our communities are facing, making sure that those at the policymaking tables hear our voices if our voices are not already represented.
What are some of those top issues, you think?
I think definitely with the current state of our country, definitely immigration is a big challenge, you know, especially for our undocumented friends, families, neighbors, making sure that, you know, they don't feel like their safety is threatened because they're just here going to work. They do pay taxes, contribute to our society and economy. But
yeah, real quick, let me, because we face the same accusations in the Latino community where they don't pay taxes. Now, I don't know if you've looked, but when you go to the grocery store, is there a button that says, I'm not documented, I don't pay taxes? Okay, I was just curious because I don't shop where you shop, so I'm just curious if there's a button that says you don't have to pay taxes.
Right.
So sorry to interrupt.
No worries, but yeah, definitely. You know, we do contribute to society, and we are part of the history and our identity as a country. And I really, you know, see it as an opportunity to also make sure that while we celebrate who we are, we also take the time to acknowledge what our community is facing, how we can help be better allies, be better advocates. That's how I see this month as well.
Excellent. What's the pride behind the month celebration? Because I know for our community it's a little bit, you know, the term covers so many people, but there are minority subcultures within, like Latino. I imagine it's the same for the Asian American Pacific Islander community, right?
Yeah, there's definitely, we're not a monolith. There's a whole bunch of cultures, ethnicities that make up AANHPI, Mongolian being one of them. But I think it's really, you know, we have such shared experiences, shared histories, and it's just an opportunity to, you know, highlight who we are, and also, you know, taking the time to dispel any notions of the model minority myth, for example. And I don't want to go sour really quick, but it's just, you know, a time to also educate our friends, families, and neighbors to really shed light on who we are and how we've contributed to society, especially being one of the fastest growing demographics in this country and in Virginia alone as well. And just really celebrating the diversity as well as how I see it.
If you had to pick one thing that you would want people to know that aren't necessarily aware of the community celebrating, or what are the top things that maybe people watching this, that maybe they grew up in areas where they didn't have a lot of friends that were different?
I think one thing that really comes to mind is just dispelling the model minority myth. You know, for so long we've heard in mainstream media that Asian Americans are successful, financially prosperous and whatnot. That means every other minority group in the United States can accomplish that as well. But while it may look like that to a certain extent, we're not the same across the board. I mean, look at the Pew Research Center data. Mongolians, especially, we're not as financially well off compared to, you know, our Korean and Chinese friends. And what does that mean with the model minority myth? Is that our voices, our presence, our struggles are swept under the rug. And, you know, for me at least, speaking personally, we grew up, you know, with public welfare benefits and like living in low-income housing and such. And then, you know, I go to school, and then, you know, it's a lot of my Korean, Chinese friends and whatnot, and they live in McMansions and whatnot. And, you know, I didn't really know it until a few years ago what this entire myth was. But then now that we've started disaggregating data, starting from there, and then really looking how do each community play out, what do they need, I think that's also gone a long way into helping our community become more successful and more prosperous, and ensuring that the future generations especially are set up for success.
So really it's leveling or enlightening people that it's not all one.
Right, exactly.
It's
Yep,
really
exactly. That's
stereotype,
the point.
can we
Yes,
use that
yeah,
word?
Yeah.
Interesting, because there is, and sorry for doing this, but there are real correlations with the Latino community.
Exactly.
Because you
For
have,
sure.
you know, you've got the Cubans, you've got Puerto Ricans, you've got Mexican, you've got Guatemalan and South American, and they are vastly different. Even though what binds them is the language, they are still uniquely different. And there are some things that do cross over in terms of living wages. Do people have the opportunity for education? And ultimately, you know, a better opportunity for their families, right, and the loved ones. And I think that's, universal, but not everyone that migrates here comes with, you know, these vast riches that I think some people would like them to have. It's about, you know, just coming here and staking, you know, an opportunity for yourself and your family and working hard. And I don't know why that's fearful for so many people, quite frankly. So.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think, you know, while there are many struggles facing our community, I think there's a lot to accomplish or celebrate. You know, looking at Fairfax County especially, there's been a huge boom in Asian-owned restaurants, boba shops, and just small businesses. So, you know, I think really taking the time to support those businesses as well is one way to really show friendship and really embrace one another. You know, it's just, the list could go on, and you know, not just in the political space, but also just, you know, doing it for the economy. It helps the economy, like whatever Marge Simpson said on The Simpsons show. You know, it's good for the economy. Why not just go buy a boba drink from the boba shop down the street?
My lady loves boba tea, by the way, just for full disclosure. But why don't we, let's do this. As we tee this up, by the way, you're going to be here for the second segment. So I want to certainly acknowledge and thank you for the first segment for the Heritage Celebration. But when I come back, I want folks to get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
So folks, when we come back, I'm going to ask this fine person what future plans he has, what he's doing currently now with the Young Democrats caucus. Stay tuned for this public service announcement.
So I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
So how was work?
It was 1,300 hours. My math class from 302 was in the trenches. Davy Roth had it the worst. Fractions were coming at him left and right. He just didn't get the damn things. 2 days ago, I tried to teach him what 1/4 of 1/2 was using different sizes of blocks. Yesterday, I tried again by dividing up pizza. Both missions failed.
Oh, no.
But today, I was ready. I created a combat math game where the only way to beat the enemy is to out-fraction them. Davy conquered every last denominator. My game was so successful, the principal is deploying it to math squadrons all over the school. Anywho, how was your day?
Oh, today my boss treated the office to salad wraps.
Salad wraps.
I know.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Hi folks, Cesar here, back in Studio C for our second segment with our very special guest, Temujin, and I will take the A- on your last name pronunciation and walk. So you are currently newly elected.
Yes.
The Virginia Young Democrats Asian Pacific Islander Caucus Chair.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
So how did you get in that role?
It's a
pretty prestigious role there.
It is, but it was kind of a funny story how I ended up there.
Okay.
I'm fairly new to the Virginia Young Dem space. I went to my first convention at the end of March, and it was also the reorganization period.
State convention.
State convention,
Okay.
yes. That took place in Norfolk, and you know, it was also the reorganization period, and I looked into the API caucus just to join, and then all of a sudden, I had maybe at least 4 people text me. Most of them also people I just met that weekend, saying, "Can you run for API caucus chair?" I'm like, I just got here. I came as a rank and file member just to know what the space is like, get to know more people, and they wanted me to run. And I was a bit shocked, and I was a bit hesitant at first as well because I don't know. I got here. I feel like I'm crashing the party. But eventually, I thought about it, and I kind of also saw it as an opportunity to serve as a gateway for many young folks to get more involved, especially our AAPI friends, because when I started off in this field, I really didn't know where to look. Not a lot of people looked like me, and I think how I saw this role as chair of the caucus was to serve as that beacon of light, maybe hope, and also just a North Star, because I know what it was like to kind of look around, feel isolated. I don't want other people to face that same experience. So I'm really taking this as a chance to serve as that gateway.
Excellent. Nicely done. That, and you're not dumb because you questioned whether or not it would be a good move. So that's good. Look, I think it's an honorable thing to take on that cause for other people, because quite frankly, not everyone knows how the system works.
Yeah.
So to be that, as you mentioned, beacon, be that tip of the spear, to then educate, to pass on what you've learned. There are people that get into these roles and they never leave, right? That's true for politics. There are people that get into elected office and they never leave. So kudos for you for doing that. So you're now chair of the Young Democrats API caucus. What's the biggest challenge or the biggest thing after the election? What's kind of like priority or impact that you see out there?
Yeah, so we're still building the caucus from the ground up. It had been relatively dormant for the past couple years. I mean, just looking at the email inbox, there was no activity for the past 5 years. So which is strange. I found that's strange myself.
This is statewide, right?
Right, yeah. So I'm really right now taking the opportunity to just build it from the ground up, establishing the foundation and the structure to ensure that, when I leave this role, that it'll be seamlessly picked up and just continue the success. And I'm really hoping that we can put on some good programming for the Virginia Young Democrats to learn more about our community, our history, and what the impact we can have on these elections, because we definitely are the margin of victory. And I'm going to also take on this role as a way to mobilize not just the API Young Democrats, but API as a whole in Virginia, because we can do a lot of good work and get a lot of good people elected if we do that.
Well, that's awesome. And that's so important, because I would say one of the challenges, and I've tried to explain this on the Latino side, and we have the vice chair on after our next guest, but what people don't understand is the elected leaders tend to come from the party apparatus, right? So if you're not involved at the party level, whether it's county or state, those elected officials aren't going to represent the community.
Right.
Case in point, I've said this, I'm the former chairman of the Fairfax County Democratic Committee. But if you look at the party, committee, the caucus, it doesn't reflect Fairfax County. Fairfax County's majority minority immigrant community. Yet the electeds don't represent that. That's because those elected officials come from that party, committee, caucuses. And that's why I tell people, look, I don't care what you look like, where you come from. If you want representation, if you want that to reflect your values, then you need to do what you did. Step up there and take a role. Because somewhere, somehow, and I'm going to ask you about this a little later, your future plans, there will come a seat that becomes available, and why shouldn't you run? Why shouldn't you be the person that puts their name in that hat? Say, I want to run for this office. Or someone from their community, right? And that's why it's so important, the work that you're doing. And hats off, if I can help you in any way, that message needs to get out there, because I don't think people fully understand the progress of what it becomes, what it takes to become an elected official.
Yeah, and definitely, I've worked on various campaigns and I've seen firsthand what it's like to run for office, and it's difficult.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's might be a deterrent for some people in certain aspects, such as campaign finance, at least, and fundraising, which is one heck of a beast. But I think, with that in mind, I think we're still on a good track of ensuring that we elect people who look like our communities. Focusing on my communities, at least, with delegates Irene Shin, Kathy Tran, Senators Kanan Srinivasan, Saddam Salim, and whatnot. We've made a lot of progress, and whether they came straight from the community or the party apparatus, I think there's a lot of good work has been done. And how I also see it, at least, is job's not done yet. While our representation at the state level has increased by a lot in the past maybe 10 years or so, we're still going to keep on fighting. We're still going to keep on continuing with the grassroots level work, connecting, getting to know our neighbors, and then also finding those people from the community who would be great leaders to represent us. I think, if I were to grade it, I would give it an I, incomplete. I don't think we're not done yet. There's more to be done, more to be seen.
Well, that's, you mentioned the challenges, because you've been on campaigns. See, I'm a corporate guy. In the corporate world, there are rules, not like ethics rules, but just how you treat people, right? I mean, the political arena, they make it so personal. It's not about policy. It's personal, and people don't want that. Why would anyone jump into that arena where you cannot disagree on policy? It's almost like it's okay to attack someone personally, and you just can't do that in corporate America, where I come from. People would be fired for saying some of the things they say. But in politics, it's kind of expected. So how do you get people that aren't used to that to accept that's the norm? Because I don't see that changing anytime. Certainly not changing from the top down for the foreseeable future. I mean, how do you pitch that to people?
I think, that's not something we can run away from. That's just an ugly truth we have to accept. And we can play a small part in changing it for the better, but I think what I really want to highlight or reaffirm, if I do find myself recruiting people, is just, it's not about you. It's about who you're going to represent, who you want to represent, really having that community aspect in mind. And, how I see it, at least, politics and public services should not be a self-serving role. You're not there for your own personal wealth or gain or fame.
Yeah, say that louder.
I just really just want to focus on that, and hopefully the message gets across. But ultimately, if it doesn't, that's really unfortunate, because there's a lot of people who can do a lot of good things.
You're the DPVA YD chair. Where do you live? Do you live in Fairfax?
Yeah,
Loudoun?
Fairfax.
So you live in Fairfax. Okay. So, any future plans maybe for you, or it might be too early, but I always ask.
It's definitely way too early.
Okay.
I just, it's been about 2 years since I've graduated from undergrad, and I'm finally in my first real job where I can get health insurance through my employer.
Okay.
I have access to retirement benefit plans and whatnot. So I'm just gonna stick that and work that job until I can't any longer. But I like it behind the scenes more. I like my privacy. I'll leave it at that.
Clearly not. You volunteered for this thing.
I mean, I'll say what I say. I'm here for the community.
Okay.
And I think there's a lot of work I can get done behind the scenes
Okay.
as well.
All right. If and when you do decide there's something bigger and better for you, please come back on our show and announce it then. But
Consider
in
it
the
done.
meantime, I'd like to check back with you in maybe towards the end of the year, around the election time,
Yeah.
and see what is kind of like emerging as the election hot button and what it's going to take to turn out what you described as the margin of victory.
Yeah.
And because that is, so we'd love to have you back.
Of course, that would be great.
Where do you see, like, give me a target. How many more people, what's your next big goal for the next 6 months here?
Next big goal, oh gosh. Just mobilizing our community,
Okay.
making sure that, while it's not a presidential election, it's a midterm election, we can do a lot to, stop what's coming out of Washington, and just put some restore checks and balances in our federal government.
Good. Well, we got this on recorded video, so we're going to go back and see how we did against that.
Looking forward to it.
No, and like I said, I think the fact that you stepped up, the fact that you came here tonight on such short notice speaks volumes to who you are, and really your community should know that you are dedicated to their causes. You're dedicated to being a voice, and really putting the time in where a lot of the community probably can't. Right? You have the luxury of time, so that's an honorable thing you've done. So take that and shine with that.
Thank you.
Sir, I want to thank you much. I know we got a little bit more time, but Timujan
Choijilsern.
Choijilsern.
Yep.
Choijilsern. Okay, I'm going to get an A+ the next time you come
All
back.
right. I'll be looking
And that is
forward
my
to it.
commitment to you.
All right.
So definitely, sir. Pleasure. All the luck to you and the YDs.
Thank you.
Folks, I told you to like this segment, and my guest will certainly be back soon. So join us in their next public service.
Nice going, Spencer. I can't believe we broke Old Man Hennessy's window.
Correction, dude. You broke. I just threw the ball.
This is really bad. What are we gonna do?
We?
Go to the door, ask for the ball back. Are you serious?
It's my ball, Myrtlebeck.
You're so dead. I'd run away.
Yeah, to Uruguay.
Kiss your life goodbye. Sorry.
Let's go. Yeah, remember me and your well.
Nice one. Some friends you are.
Keep smiling, keep shining.
Hi. Tell him it was an accident. And we can fix the window. Come on. I'll come with you.
Loyalty. Pass it on.
You go first.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
One day these rats were playing in the woods. Well, it's a matches and that's no good. Listen to smoke before you give it a try. Only you. Don't play with matches. Don't play with fire. Cause there's nothing very funny about nothing very nice on a homeless mind. So if a gorgeous force is what you desire, don't play with matches. Don't play with fire.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Fire.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again. But an awkward silence can be a great thing, like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Hi folks, Cesar here, back in Studio C. My next guest, I think you probably may have seen him. He was an activist, still is, I think, with another group, the Virginia New Majority. But guess what? Now, as a young leader, he's decided to take the plunge and run for office. Please welcome back my next guest, Yosef Ezekilov.
Yosef Ezekilov, yeah. Thank you so much.
Is that an A plus, A minus?
It's A minus.
Oh, right. I'm A minus.
We're going to get you up to A plus next time.
I was like,
yeah.
Sir, thank you for coming back on our show, especially
it's my pleasure.
under
Thanks
short
for having
notice.
me. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about put you over the edge and why you decided to jump in to elected office, man. It's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
You went from superstar activist to potential candidate here. So.
Well, I still consider myself an activist. That is still my 9 to 5. I'm a community organizer with New Virginia Majority.
Yeah.
Now for conflict of interest purposes, I'm working mostly in Loudoun County.
Mm-hmm.
I was serving our Herndon community, but I'm looking forward to serving them as a town councilor.
So you live in Herndon but serve the Loudoun community?
That's right.
New Virginia,
yeah.
okay.
I was a community organizer in the Herndon area for about 2 years, and serving primarily our immigrant community. The folks that, the majority of whom make up that 20% of Herndon that makes under 50K, that does not get reflected in a lot of the statistics that we use when we make a lot of decisions for our community. And those are the people that really push me to run. Those are the people that I am looking to represent, not just that 20%, but really our entire Herndon community that doesn't get heard from enough. So that's why I'm running. I'm running so that we can make Herndon more affordable, more accessible, and more inclusive. And I hope to bring a lot of what I've learned as a community organizer into that position.
Excellent, excellent. Those are great causes, man, and certainly. And we met in your current role as activist for New Virginia. So, but no, I was excited to hear you're stepping in, man. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Definitely
Thank you. Well, and it's been great working with you. I'll tell the audience how we first met. Put you on the spot a little bit.
Okay.
It was, if you recall, we put the pressure on a property management company that was issuing a whole bunch of junk fees to tenants. And without their knowledge, so it was a building that had, over 90% of Spanish-speaking tenants, and the property management company was putting in, junk fees like sewage, overcharging them for water.
Late fees.
So late fees that, if you're getting your paycheck mid-month, and you have a late fee if you don't pay past the 5th. For folks living paycheck to paycheck, they're accruing a late fee every month. So it's things like that. Thanks to your help, we were able to put pressure on them and, get folks back about tens of thousands of dollars, right?
I remember that.
These are the things I aim to continue to do as a counselor. And hopefully we can have more support even on the state level side, right? Unfortunately, our Democratic colleagues chose not to pass a lot of the legislation that we need to protect our tenants. So the junk fee bill at the GA level did not pass, but we aim to put pressure on our Democratic colleagues to really get this done because it is a primary issue, not just in Herndon, but really all of Virginia.
So why do you think it didn't pass? I mean, I've got my paranoia, but what are your thoughts on why that was? Because you're really protecting the most vulnerable, but they're not necessarily voters, right? And that's, I think, where I have like a visceral response. So Yes, I get it. They can't complain, technically, right? But they're being abused. So, but give me your thoughts on why you think.
Well, first, let's just be honest, right? We have way too many folks in politics that are supported very directly by a lot of development and construction corporations. And those folks have a vested interest in ensuring that property managers and construction companies continue to take advantage of our most vulnerable workers and the most vulnerable people in this state, right? So that is a primary issue. Now, to your point, yeah, a lot of folks do not have their needs met by their politicians because their politicians just look at them as just the next vote to get. And if they're not a citizen, they're not really worth really considering, right? Because they're not a vote they're going to get at that poll in November. And that is a huge issue. It's why I'm running, because I want to make sure that everybody in Herndon, regardless of their migration status, has a voice in our local government.
I'm with you there, brother. I think that's the way it should be. But the pushback would be, well, you know, you're probably going to attract a different kind of element to the town, or the policies are going to bring more of these types of people and situations. Well,
yeah, I mean, those people are already here, you know. Herndon is, you know, 1/3 Hispanic, another third, you know, of every other, you know, minority community that you can think of, South Asian, East Asian. I'm from Bulgaria myself. We have a, you know, Eastern European community as well. And people know that because they'll go to, you know, get their pupusas and, you know, go to their noodle shops and their Indian restaurants. But they don't really think about the fact that we're not including our majority of our population in Herndon within the decisions of the town. So that's really, you know, one of my priorities is making sure that our town is really reflecting the breadth and the diversity of our community within the decisions we're making about what Herndon's going to look like, how it's going to develop, within the cultural events, within you know, all of the ways that we represent our community in Herndon, and with the financial decisions, where we're putting our money and in what we're putting our money. That's really how we ensure that you know, we put our money where our mouth is and truly you know, create an inclusive community.
Yeah, I know one of the big things, the affordable housing is your initiative. God bless you for taking that on. How do we overcome things like, there was a housing survey done, right? And I'll check the numbers, and please don't quote me on this, but I think there were about 480 some respondents. And let's just say 500 respondents. And I think, again, I'll double check the numbers, but 80 to 85% of the respondents were already home owners. And that skewed the results to basically say we don't need or want any more or any affordable housing in Herndon. How do you fix that? Because it totally skewed. If the public sees that, they're like, well, no one wants affordable housing. But those people aren't responding in the survey that need it, right? So how do you fix that?
So if you recall, I actually brought our community leaders in Herndon to the next town council meeting after that study was unveiled to push back against the fact that not only were 80% of those respondents homeowners, but 85%, if I recall correctly, had English as their primary language, as their first language.
That was the other, okay, that's where, so it's 80 and 85. Okay.
So again, 35% Hispanic, another 30, you know, and forgive me for that, not having the exact numbers, of different minorities. We have 55 to 60% of the community that does not speak English as their first language, and yet a study where 85% are primary English speakers.
Yeah, I know, that's what's...
that is kind of par for the course of why we have not fully represented our town, is because we don't pay heed to that. The way you fix that is by engaging at the grassroots level. You know, you need to, and by you I mean the town council, the town of Herndon, Fairfax County, really needs to pay more attention to engaging our communities at that grassroots level. I'll applaud the town of Herndon. I've been talking with them on their Herndon 2050 survey. I'm hoping to do some focus groups with our Hispanic community to ensure that their opinions and their priorities are reflected within that survey, so we can have a plan for the future of Herndon that is really reflective of the priorities of everybody. But that's just a drop in the bucket. We need a much more concerted effort of engaging with our communities where they are. So if you're sending out, you know, something over email, that's not hitting a majority of our immigrant community, right?
You got to put signs up, Spanish or whatever language, in laundromats. You got to go to the churches. You got to go,
If you just have that tent at the farmer's market, you're only hitting a very specific segment of a population. And so that's something that, you know, working with, you know, organizations like mine, New Virginia Majority, working with organizations like Cornerstones, these are ways to bridge those gaps and bring a lot of people into those decision-making processes.
What's your biggest challenge for running for office, you think, going forward?
Well, as I mentioned, we have a lot of folks that have a lot of vested corporate interests, and they're going to put a lot of effort into making sure that, you know, I don't make it as a counselor in November, given that I've been fighting for more affordable housing in Herndon. There's going to be a lot of misinformation within the race, as we've seen with the No campaign, where we're going to have folks confusing voters about what the true Democratic position is.
Can they do that?
Right, exactly. You know, and unfortunately, we need our local Dems to really wake up and pay attention to that, right? We already saw this with the redistricting campaign. We already saw that this happened. If we don't think it's going to happen in our local elections, we're fooling ourselves, because the Republicans understand that that's the only way they're going to, you know, win and pass some of their agendas, is by passing off, you know, fake Democrats. So we really need to address that.
Yosef, my friend, you got my full support. Get on
Thank
there.
you so much.
Folks,
it's been a pleasure.
It's going to be a fun general election here, folks. So stay tuned, stay for more. But hey, we've got another guest coming up, finish up this young new leaders going forward. So come back after this announcement.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. Already posted it.
I got a crick in my neck, limp in my step, cramping in my muscles every time I try to flex. I'm scared of. Very sad that I can do this, was remember you. You know I usually say no, but if you throw me love, I'll throw you some more.
It's a big responsibility.
Oh, it's huge. I know, it's huge.
And the salary.
Oh my god, yes.
Right?
I mean, like, I was about to move in with my parents, and right before, so this saved me.
I really believe in you, you know?
Thank you. It's nice to hear that from someone.
These are cool. Did you
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Hi, folks. Cesar here, back in Studio C. I told you we had an amazing show tonight. We're going to finish up with another young leader in the political world. She's a close friend. I've gotten to know this person over the last few months, Oriela Mejia. She is the current vice chair of the state party Latino caucus. Oriela, thank you for making time tonight.
Yeah, of course. It's an honor to be here in Fairfax County.
Talk to me. What do you got going on? What's happening here?
There's always something going on.
Where do we start? Do you want to start with the Yes campaign, the election results, or the elections that are coming up? What do you want to talk about as a young leader? What's top on the list here?
Of course. If anything, we can dial it back. For anyone that's watching right now and wants to get involved, there's just so much work to be done, both into building the current framework that we have. Yeah. As you heard from Temujin earlier, there's a lot of good work being done to highlight who we are as individuals, to be welcoming of our voices in the democratic space. And I think that's correlated a lot to how people have shown up to vote recently, like we saw with the Yes campaign. Yeah. Minorities, specifically Latinos, Asian Americans, have shown up greatly for democratic initiatives. Mm-hmm. So back when I was outreach director for Virginia Young Democrats, which is kind of how I ended up as vice chair for the Latino caucus for Virginia Young Democrats, it was a moment where we knew how it felt to lose. We had just come fresh off of losing the presidential, and as Young Democrats, we knew that we had to do a lot of work to come back from that. But what was so inspiring, he mentioned convention, and he mentioned how people, he was new to the space, and in the beginning of the show was so excited to be at his first convention, and how people were like, you know what, we see a leader in you. Yeah. That is very much how the movement is right now. You come in, what do you like to do? Do you like to be on a show? Do you like to be at the front? Do you like to be behind the camera? Do you like to be the one writing the thoughts and ideas that we have, or do you want to be on the grounds implementing? There's a space for everyone in the movement, and I'm even more inspired by young folks, for instance, like Yosef or Doug for Herndon, that are stepping up and saying, you know what, I've been involved
Full
with
disclosure,
advocating.
That's your brother, correct? We have to
well, I wasn't going to say it live on the show, but
Doug Mejia, and you're serving as his campaign spokesman. So
yeah, I'm volunteering for his campaign. So if anyone wants to volunteer, there is a Young Dems running for office currently in Herndon.
And this is what, quite frankly, I think the country needs. Whether you're Democrat or Republican, this is just my personal opinion. There are way too many people that have been in politics for way too long. They need to give it up to the next generation of folks. And I include myself in that, right? I mean, it's just like, it needs to be passed on to the next generation of leaders. So thank you for stepping up. And thank you, Doug, for stepping up it too. So kudos.
In my culture, we say your ears are itching when they're speaking about you. So that's probably what's happening to him right now.
Yeah, okay.
But
you're a good sister, by the way. My sister needs to take a cue from you.
No.
Andrea, this is what sisters do.
Oh my goodness. Don't put her on the spot. If anything, I'm just honored that they allow young people into roles. For instance, with my career, I was allowed to work for Senator Warner, who's also running. Yeah. And
great man.
Right. He saw a young Latino kid born in the town of Herndon to immigrant parents and took a chance. Hired me to his office. Then that led to me working for Senator Kaine. That led to me working for presidential administration. And I was taking on roles that people didn't see young folks in. And they thought, well, she must be older. But the reality was that whole time I was under 20 years old. And then if anything, if we could just cast a blind eye to someone in their age. We would see like them for their talent first before saying, oh, this is how much a 25-year-old can accomplish. And I think with Virginia Young Democrats, that is what we keep on seeing time and time again. Not only for the Young Democrats that step up to run, but also for the ones that are currently leading, that are the ones that are, setting up the policy work, that are setting up the constituent services, the community outreach efforts for elected officials. We see their thoughts, their stories being highlighted in the bigger framework of what is America and what is government that works for people. And that is exactly why I'm so thrilled to not only have worked in government, but continue to volunteer in these spaces, because these spaces need us. And I think the more that young folks volunteer, the more folks will start to see, wait, this is a formidable leader here. Mm-hmm. This isn't just someone that I want, carrying around my yard signs. This is someone that I want as an advisor. In my case, I'm a commissioner as well. So this is someone I want in leadership. This is someone I want to take advice from, and this is someone I'm going to trust day in, day out, because they represent their community well.
Awesome.
Yes.
And just a little, I don't know if I've ever shared this with you or other people, but Senator Warner gave me the best advice when I became chair of the Fairfax County Democratic Committee. He just pulled me over and he even asked me, hey, can I give you some advice? Yeah, of course you can.
He's courteous like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like just very humble. I'm like, sure, Senator. He said, listen, in your role, whether it's here or other offices, just remember this. I've learned, and he was talking about himself, he's learned that a third of the people would always love him. Mm-hmm. A third of the people are always going to dislike him, right? But then the other third just want to see you get something done.
Right.
So don't worry about the third that doesn't like you. Worry about the 2/3 that are going to be open to helping you get stuff done, right? And I think that for young Dems need to understand, you're never going to be popular with everyone. I use myself. There's a lot of hate out there for me. They just don't know me.
Oh, no.
But I mean, all I really need is like 50 plus 1% of the people to get stuff done. And that's, right. I think, what people, politics is very different from like corporate America. And I'm used to a corporate environment. Politics isn't that way. So leverage what you can and get stuff done for the people that you're trying to represent, right?
Always when the question comes, why did so-and-so run for office? The reality is everyone can run.
Right.
Anyone can run. Sure, there's other questions on how do I do that? How do I fund a race? But the reality is the whole part of the democratic process is that anyone can, figure out the process, get your petition signatures, and run for office. Yeah. So I'm seeing that in Herndon right now. Anyone can run. I'm inspired by that, and I'm seeing that statewide in Virginia where, if anything, Temujin spoke about the General Assembly. We have more women legislators than we've ever had. We have our first female governor. Yeah. Things like that just bring so much inspiration, at least to someone like me who grew up not seeing that.
Yeah.
So to the young Dems that are now stepping in and seeing what's possible, I am so thrilled for them, because some of us stepped in not really knowing what's possible, but just believing in a dream and having a vision.
It's probably better not knowing what awaits.
And if anything, I still keep on dreaming. I still keep on having a vision of what the future can be. Mm-hmm. And that's why I like to always, although I don't live in the town of Herndon, I live in Woodbridge, Virginia, I like to look back to where my roots are, mm-hmm. And see how the town is. And that's why, to anyone running wherever you are, not only in the town of Herndon, whether in Woodbridge, listen to the community, prioritize them. If they're telling you something is not working for them, no matter what political party you are, or if you're of dependent affiliation, truly make it work for them. And not to put it as a threat. If you don't, then yes, more younger people or other people will run for those seats to try to make that local government or overall government work for them. And that's what we're seeing.
Yosef touched on it, right?
Yes.
And there are people to get into this to represent certain values, certain initiatives, certain ideas. But then somewhere along the line, and I've seen it with elected officials, they forget that and then worry about getting reelected, right? And that becomes the priority, because the cycle almost innately forms that behavior. So it's less about I got to get these things done, or I got to get elected because then I can't get these things done. So then you start to trim away the values. Okay, well, that's less important, so let me just focus on this, and can I pick up a couple percentages with these statements? So that's why people are so cynical in politics, because now it's more like, well, how can I just win my next election? My advice to young Dems or anyone that'll listen is, I've never worried about getting reelected.
Wow.
I've told people to, let me clean this up for the audience, go away very nicely.
Okay.
I haven't used those words. I've used much harsher language, but for me, it's not about getting reelected. It's about the values that I'm representing. And if you like these values, vote for me. If you don't, then don't. I could care less about winning or losing, but I do want to be in a position where I can impact changes. But I really don't stay up at night worrying about not getting elected. I worry about representing the people or finding someone to align with who's going to carry that torch and be that voice for the people that don't have that representation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like you can't worry about getting reelected, because then all you worry about is getting reelected. It's a vicious circle. So.
And I think, how many times have you been reelected? Actually, not that you are worried about getting reelected, but how many times have you?
I'm serving my 4th term.
Exactly. There you go. So that method has worked out for you because, I mean, we're here 4 times in now. What if you win this one, it'd be 5?
Yeah, I just can't do it anymore though. But that's why younger people need to step up.
Wow. So literally, if you're watching and in the town of Herndon,
step up.
Next time.
Step up.
I'm saying it's a special announcement, but there is a desire for new and fresh leadership.
Well, I think that's true. Coming from a corporate background, especially these days, you're not going to be in the same role for 10 plus years. And if you are, then most organization companies are going to ask you to get value trained in something else because they can't afford to have such institutional single points of failures in the business. So companies like to promote people around. And I think politicians should move around too. You can't be a delegate, a supervisor, a senator, or anything for that long. I just think that's part of the problem that the American people are starting to realize. There's very few people that are in it for the cause. There are a few, I will say that. But the majority, I mean, geez, it's like, just let me get reelected so I can cash out on these, insider trading things. So.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, that was more federal news. But thankfully we stayed local.
Local. Hey, we're going to have you back because I know we got a lot of Latino stuff to talk about. We got campaign stuff to talk about.
Yes.
I want to thank you for stepping in and doing the things. Oriella, you will be back again.
Thank you.
And folks, we put this show together in a fairly quick time, so I want to thank all my guests for stepping up. Thank you for staying with us. See you soon.